Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. What up, bitch? It's your boy, Big OG, coming back in the bitch with a video on gang on hood. Oh, let me get this out the way. We're gonna react to a video about Gen Z. I'm Gen Z. I'm 22 years old, born in 2002. So I'm Gen Z. No, yeah, I'm Gen Z. But shit, they talking about Gen Z, the poor generation, right now. We gotta see what the fuck they talking about on God. So we'll see.
And a big part of the problem comes down.
Wait a couple of seconds, 30. I'm gonna start over, y'all niggas.
Good news. The average Gen Zer in the workforce now has a net worth of $22,000. Wait, no, that's a mistake. Negative 22,000. So what's the actual good news? By the time they hit 27, the average Gen Zer will finally have a positive net worth of $8,142. Hey, progress is progress. But how did Gen Z get this way? Is it really all that avocado toast spending? Or was that the millennials? Today on the Infographic Show, we'll dive deep into the depressing story of why Gen Z is the poorest generation ever. It's no surprise that Gen Z is struggling, and a big part of the problem comes down to money. Take Maddie, a 25-year-old working at a senior living home in Pennsylvania. She puts it bluntly, everyone is going to be in debt their whole life. I don't want to be, but I have this feeling that no matter what I do, no matter how hard I work, there is always going to be some kind of debt that I have. It's a legitimate concern, but why don't they just try work?
I'm 22, I ain't got no debt, for I ain't rich. I ain't saying I ain't rich, but nigga, I ain't got no debt, bro. I don't want that shit.
King for a change. Pull themselves up by their good old bootstraps. Well, apparently they do work. It just doesn't seem to help them much. One Gen Z Reddit user shared this fond memory about their first full-time job. My first full-time job was at Deloitte, and they paid me $36,000 in 2019. I went into credit card debt to pay for the train to work. A full 59% of Gen Z reported feelings of stress and anxiety about their finances, the highest of any generation. While Gen Z is generally stress and anxiety prone, it turns out that they have some very real reasons to be concerned. Wages are bad, debts are up, and why is all this happening? Well, let's see what the data tells us. As of 2023, 10.5 million teens and adults aged 13 to 27, or 16% of Gen Z, live in poverty, the highest of any generation except Alpha. Things are so bad that Bank of America recently discovered 46% of Gen Z adults need financial assistance from their family to stay afloat. And it's not because they're lazy. Most of them are working full-time, and a significant chunk of them are working more than one job. In fact, 53% of Gen Z have a side hustle on top of their full-time job just to make ends meet. That could mean driving for Uber, which, by the way, 24% of adult Gen Zers do, or selling handmade stuff online. And then there are the online services that we'd rather not get into. But you gotta do what you gotta do, right? Many young adults who don't already have a side hustle are planning to get one just to survive their 20s. In fact, 51% of Gen Z plans to monetize a hobby because nothing makes your favorite pastime more enjoyable than needing it to afford groceries. Despite that, the same Bank of America survey found that 60% of Gen Z adults don't have enough savings to cover 3 months of expenses. So if they get fired or they have an emergency, many turn to credit cards. The New York Fed found that 1 in 7 Gen Z adults have already maxed out their credit cards.
That's why
and that is not just a short-term problem. It wrecks their credit history, making it harder to get loans, rent apartments, and even qualify for better financial opportunities. Oh, and saving for the future? Yeah, that's not happening. We'll get into why Gen Z is racking up debt soon, and despite what Instagram might have you believe, it's not because of champagne brunches and Santorini photo shoots. The real issue is that credit card companies themselves have changed, and not in a way that helps. In fact, many of those changes have put Gen Z at a serious disadvantage. According to WalletHub, the average credit card interest rate reached an all-time peak in August 2024, maxing out at 21.76%. In comparison, just 10 years earlier, millennials trying to pay off credit card debt only had to deal with an average interest rate of 11.82%. Higher interest rates means that any unpaid credit card balances rack up interest much faster than they normally would. That makes the goal of eventually paying off credit cards harder and harder. Bankrate credit card analyst Ted Rossman says, to be just starting out and already falling behind the 8 ball can be a tough cycle to break. And it's not like Gen Z is just mindlessly splurging on their credit cards. Despite all the criticism they get in the media, only 5.5% of Gen Z's average spending is on dining out, compared to 5% for other ages. keeping in mind that Gen Z also spends much less than other ages overall. But Moody's Analytics found that the young adult generation is spending much more of their income on necessities compared to other generations, mostly on rent, according to a 2022 American Community Survey by Zillow, a site that may as well sell unicorns for how realistically Gen Z can actually buy a home. 3 in 5 renters aged 18 to 25 spend more than 30% of their income on housing. And in 21 of the largest US cities, that number is even higher. That being said, some of Gen Z's spending is definitely impulse buys. Gen Z tends to scroll TikTok and Instagram like crazy, platforms where half of the creators are trying to sell something. 44% of Gen Z takes influencer recommendations into account when purchasing products. This can result in a lot of regret over overpriced skincare and supplements that either have testosterone-boosting abilities or just ground-up flour in them. There would be no way to know. Not to mention, after all the world shut down in 2020, something else that influenced Gen Z's prospects in crazy ways, as you'll soon see, a lot of people wanted to blow off steam and go out and live after being locked down for months. And, well, living requires paying. How can Gen Z even start paying off so much credit card debt? One option is to go back to their childhood bedrooms, and a lot of Gen Z never.
I ain't gonna lie. Y'all niggas say y'all money, stop playing with y'all income, folk. That's the video, folk. I ain't gonna watch this whole damn thing. Y'all know what the fuck going on. Y'all niggas say y'all bread, folk. Live below your means. Stop being all friendly with everybody. Stop overspending money. Make sure you know what you're doing. Stay out the way. Stack your bread. Have an idea. Pursue the idea. Don't get in the way. On gang. That's your boy FG Cody, man. Stack your bread. Stay out the way. I'm out this bitch with another video. I'm out this bitch. I see you next time with another video. All right, man. Gang.